handsome guy.
Stop it.
Hi, welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. My name is Leo Connors, and today I got two special guests. I got Gallo and Setherin of the Tag Team Nightbreed. Guys,
What's up, man? Good to
thanks
see
for
you.
coming on.
Thank you for having
Nice
us.
to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet
Amado's
you.
been on a few times. Setherin's been on a few times.
Yes, sir.
All right, so listen, like I talked to you off here, we're going to do a little get-to-know-you interview with you, okay? Where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay. When did you first see pro wrestling? Do you remember?
Let's see. Probably right before the age of 10, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it WWF or whatever?
Well, I saw it on TV, yeah, WWF.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were your friends or family into it too?
No, I was I grew up in a baseball family. And so I was not very good at baseball. And yeah, so anyway, found wrestling and that was what I fell in love with. And so I kind of just loved it alone.
Nice, okay. Who were some of your favorites when you first started watching wrestling?
Let's see. Well, I really liked, of course, Bret Hart,
Yeah.
The Undertaker. And then the more and more wrestling I watched, I started falling more and more in love with guys like the Rock and Roll Express and the Fabulous Freebirds and things like that. So yeah, and Von Erichs. I love the Von Erichs.
Yeah. Me too. Fell in love with those guys too. When did you know you wanted to be a pro wrestler?
I think after my parents took us to see the WWF in Portland, Maine, when I was 13, and it was a really awful blizzard, and so we didn't know if the show was even going to go on.
Right.
So my father drove us, and we got there, and most of the crowd didn't even show up. So the WWF, they put on the show anyway for all of us, and there must have been maybe like 50 people in the whole arena. So we got to run around and go right up to the front row and tag all the wrestlers, and I just remember that being such a magical experience for me, being a kid loving wrestling and being able to reach out and touch the Undertaker's arm as he walked by. And
that's weird because hardly that ever happens to
yeah.
kids, especially their first show. I mean, you go to a place like that, you're sitting way back here, you
Right.
never get to even get close to them. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you decided, who trained you?
I was trained first by Bob Evans and Sonny Goodspeed
Yep.
at their first Slam Tech in Nashua.
Nice.
And that was open for about a year. It closed down. And then I was out of training for a few months. And that's when I got involved with Steve Bradley's school, Top Rope Wrestling Academy. Right when it opened, I was his first student.
Oh, wow.
I had met Steve when he had come to practice with us one night at Slam Tech.
Right.
And so when he opened up, I called and said, "Hey, Steve, do you remember me?" And he said, "Of course I do. You're the only guy that said thank you to me. Come on down."
Nice.
So it was great. So trained mostly with Steve after
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Who else was in the class? Do you remember who else came in after you?
The first three students that Steve had at Top Rope were myself, and then Brandon Locke
Yep.
and Scott Reed. And we were the first three that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you who did you have your first match for? Was it Steve?
No, I actually had my first match right before I started with Steve, just after Bob's school, with Maverick Wild.
Oh, wow.
And that's where I met him.
Was that his company for FRW? Was it Front Row Wrestling?
I think that was an NECW show.
Oh, okay.
'Cause that's where we met
all right.
initially. We didn't know we were going to be together back then, but that was when we first met.
All right. Now, before we dive into everything, now, you're also an author.
Yes.
Like, what do you write about? What?
I am a 5-time published author. Award. I got a literary award in 2014 from the New Hampshire Writers Project. I write commercial fiction.
Okay.
And I like speculative things, speculative themes, anything with, I don't like really magic, but things that are kind of X-Files-y
Right.
or supernatural in nature, fiction, stuff like that. So I have a sword and sorcery adventure. I have a high seas adventure. My newest one is a science thriller with mind-altering parasites. And I actually wrote a young adult story for a toy company based here in Nashua as a medieval child's fantasy story. Really kind of cool. So I kind of write anything that pops in my head.
That's awesome. You want to just tell everybody, like, the names of your books and where they could find them?
Sure. The award winner, Cerulean Isle, that's the high seas adventure. Then we have Everblade, that's the sword and sorcery adventure. Magic Moonstone is the children's historical fantasy. And Karma City. And all of those books are available wherever books are sold. Amazon can get them right to your door. You could walk into a Barnes & Noble's and they can order it for you. Yeah.
Nice. Nice, and Amazon's fast too. With
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I
Oh,
get like
absolutely.
Monster drinks because they're so expensive. My girl decided to get them on like
Yeah.
a case at a time.
Right.
So much cheaper. And you order them like at 4 o'clock one day, they're there at noon the next.
Let's see, yep.
Gotta love Amazon.
Yeah, it's
All
great.
right, guys. We're gonna get into the fan questions
Okay.
because then I have questions after too. Okay.
Sure. Yes, we do.
Jared Doomling wants to know. Obviously, Nightbreed has a huge fan base and would get cheers either way. But you guys, would you rather wrestle as heels or faces?
You want to go first?
Sure. Would we rather? Thank you for the question, Jared. Would we rather wrestle as baby faces or heels? I think it works when we're babyface. But I would like to do things that are more aggressive.
Right.
But I think that the fans respond really well to what Amato and I do when we have that baby face
Right.
storytelling going for us.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, going with it, I would like to try it.
Yeah.
But just see if right now for us it seems hard because everywhere we go,
Right.
we get that positive reaction. And I'm like, we couldn't. I don't think we could be bad guys if we tried.
Especially at Atlantic Pro Wrestling.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
guys are over like crazy over there.
It's a good
So it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And they're actually coming on strong too. And
Yeah.
now you're still affiliated with their school, the wrestling school?
Yes.
Want to plug that real quick
Yep,
so I don't forget?
Wrestling Academy Revival. I'm there on Wednesdays.
Okay.
But they're open Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and open ring Sundays.
Okay. Now you just said you do Wednesdays,
I do Wednesdays.
and Luis Ortiz is definitely there, right?
Mondays, yes.
Does Mondays, and who does
6
the
to
other
9.
days?
Stiff Mike.
Stiff Mike. There you go. Mike King. Good guy. Well, all you guys are great guys. Jeff Wood wants to know, time to come to Maine, guys, and take over. Would you guys want to do a WFA reunion show in memory of Steve? No, that would be awesome. It really would be.
It would be actually. Yeah, May. I mean, we just did Vermont. I think
Yeah.
it was last weekend.
Nice.
Which was really fun.
Was that the first time you were in Vermont?
No, we were. Steve used to always do Vermont.
Oh, okay.
Like the Newport. We go way up there.
Right.
This was in Windsor, Vermont. And we had a blast. I mean, like the reception we got was unbelievable. I didn't expect it. I know that. I was floored. Maine, I wouldn't mind doing Maine.
Right.
You know, as far as a reunion, I like reunions.
Yep.
You know, always as long as it's like the original clan.
Right,
You
right.
know,
And it's done right.
Right, and that's the
Oh.
thing. And I think if reunion's not done right, they're like, you know.
Right.
But it would have to be the right circumstance for me to do a reunion with the right, the right crew, the right
Right.
amount, the original guys.
Right.
You know.
So Randy Carver, Limitless Wrestling. Bring these guys in. That'd be pretty cool. Brandon Belanger wants to know, how did you guys come up with the characters, and how did you come up with the name Nightbreed? It's a great question.
I was already doing the vampire gimmick.
Right.
But I was kind of ripping off the name from Marvel Comics. I was using Morbius.
Right. Oh, that's when I first saw you wrestle. You
Yep.
were Morbus. Yeah. Jeff.
So when we met, Steve had a meeting before opening his company, and I was nervous. I was like, oh, he's gonna change my gimmick. It's something I probably can't do. Whatever. And I lucked out because he's like, well, you guys are my vampires, and he gave us a sheet of put on your name, put in what your character is and all
Right.
that. He had a name thought up. But Steve obviously didn't want Morbius.
Yeah.
So I remember walking into the office one day, and Steve had a list of names. And he's like, it was like Blake. I remember, that's all I remember. And Seth Rollins was on there. So just pick one.
Right.
And I go, I don't know which one I liked. I'm like, I kind of like the Seth Rollins one. And he just sat there, laid back on his chair, and just started chanting the name. And he goes, that works.
Yeah.
That works. And then I remember him sending me an email or telling me, come up with a team name.
Right.
And I don't know. I was coming up with some dumb stuff, like Team Goth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And looking back, I'm like, that's horrible. I think I would just stick with it. And then one day I remember watching a movie called Nightbreed, and it was an old movie, and I was like, that's kind of vampires at night. Yeah, Nightbreed. So I told him, I go, what do you think? He goes, yeah, Nightbreed. That's it. And I remember, emailing him and talking to him first. Like, what do you think? He's like, yeah, that's the way to go. And that's kind of how it kind of came about.
By accident.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. Adam Salzer wants to know, what flipped the switch that made Gallo want to get back into wrestling?
What did make Gallo come
Sure wasn't me calling him every 4 years.
You had said that. You said that here.
Well, Adam, thank you for the question. Amato's definitely been the light, keeper of the lighthouse, if you will. Okay, he's always kept that light going. He hasn't left. And yeah, every 4 years or so, he'd reach out, through email or whatever, want to do a little something here and there. And it was always, I'd always slam the door in his face pretty hard. Sorry about that. But I was busy, and it's just, it wasn't right. I didn't feel it, right? That was the whole thing. You didn't feel it. For me, I had closed the book on wrestling. So
I just can't take a hint.
anyway,
You didn't stop that.
Right.
so just, flipping the switch is a good way to put it. You never know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it was about a year or so ago. It was winter time, and I just decided, let me check in and see what's up with some old friends. Went online, checked out some people, and I saw that Amato had a show at Liberty States. And I said to my wife, Devin, hey, I think I'm gonna go watch a wrestling show. I had just started watching wrestling again, and I was kind of getting more plugged back in.
Right.
So she goes, oh, cool, that'd be really great. You should surprise him. I'm like, all right. So I did, and then got the ticket, went to Liberty States, didn't tell him I was going. When I bought the ticket at the door, the woman at the door, very kind lady, she hands me a ticket and she asks me, she looks at me funny and she goes, are you a wrestler? I said, I used to be a long time ago. So I took the ticket and I went and I sat in the front row. And not quite realizing it, but I realize it now that I actually sat myself right behind the corner, where almost like where I would have been.
Right.
So when Amato came out, it was really cool.
That's
surprised
awesome.
him, stood up to the Nightbreed thing. It was just a really fun night.
Right.
But to be really close to that wrestling ring and to watch my friend, still do it and do it well, and to feel that, and then the crowd started chanting Nightbreed. It was the weirdest thing, man. And I was deeply touched, just deeply touched. And so we went out to dinner, hung out, and I don't know, I was just driving home that night, and I kind of started to remember something that I had forgotten that I loved. And I feel like when you abandon something or walk away from something that you love and you forget about it, when you forget about something that you love, that's a real tragedy.
Right.
So to be reunited with that and to have that spark up in me again, I sent him a message, hey, you can't retire. Nightbreed's back.
That's awesome. And Todd has a great fan base.
Yes.
He
Todd's a hell of a
really
guy.
does.
He's
His
a good guy.
crowd, from what I hear, is very vocal and everything. Kind of like an APW fan base.
He's built that school up pretty well.
Yeah,
that town.
yes.
And I want to say, coming back to wrestling, it was, it wasn't really hard. It wasn't really hard to come back to wrestling. Physically, sure,
Right.
But coming back, entering into the business again, it wasn't hard because there are so many kind people, and it's such a tight network, like a family, and there's so much love.
Yeah.
So when you come back, everybody opens the doors for you, and they welcome you, and they're just so happy that you're back. It's really, really moving, and I really appreciate Bo opening up his school for us to train again, and I'm appreciative of Todd Sopel for opening his doors as promotion, no questions asked, no hesitation, getting us on the show, and then of course all the good people behind APW that have been treated Nightbreed so well. And I tell you, it's really inspiring.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is a great story. That was a great question. Excuse
you.
me, Adam. Really. John Henry says he's a big fan. What's the next step for Nightbreed? Any thoughts of single matches? But you guys just got back together.
Right. We did.
You already want him to do singles, John?
I don't know about him, but I don't plan anything out.
Right.
What's next is, whatever I wake up to the next day. Really, I don't plan anything out.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll shoot him a text like, "Hey, this show just popped up. Do you want to go do it on this date?" He'll be like, "Let me think about it." A few days later, like, "Oh yeah, let's go do it." It's just I don't plan anything out.
So other than Liberty States and Atlantic Pro, have you worked for any other? What other companies have booked Nightbreed so far?
we just did Impulse on Saturday.
Now that's a brand new company.
Yes, that's a brand new one up in Vermont. We just did them, and I think it's all.
I was really impressed with that, by the way. They did a wonderful job. Did a wonderful job.
Wow, man! I had no idea it was their first show.
Yeah, that was the first show.
That's a heck of a crowd for your first show. Yeah. Usually they average around 50, 60 for the opening
and something
show.
that we kind of touched base on. It was like a real positive environment. It was so I remember he's one of my buddies, but B.A. Tatum walked us to the curtain, and then when I came back, he was like, the boys were at Gorilla. they just wanted to experience what you guys did out there. And Mike McCarthy pulled us aside, and he was like, you guys got something special. I don't know if you guys realize this, but you guys might want to go look back on this, because we were out there experiencing that reaction you got at the end. And it was like, sometimes when you're out there, you don't notice it, or maybe you take it for granted because it's just, you're doing your job.
Right.
But it was just like, I went back and watched the video. I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't realize they were chanting that, or I didn't.
Now, who did you guys wrestle?
Middlesex Express.
Nice.
They're
another really good team.
They're a good team.
They're very good. They're two nice guys too. You know?
Very entertaining. Very entertaining.
Definitely. I like those guys. They've been here before too. All right. So Anthony Mark Balkas. You know Anthony.
Sounds right, yeah.
Atlantic Pro. Brings his little kids there all the time. He's always swearing.
Yes.
I'm just joking, Anthony. What's your favorite match that you guys have been a part of in APW since you've been back?
APW.
Wow, that's a few.
Just so you know, that's Anthony's promotion. Yeah. Like, he goes to every one of their shows. Every one.
I mean, up to this point, I think for me it would be Brandon Luck and Scott Reed.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I don't know if that's your favorite match. To me, that's mine.
I think so. I think so. I kind of rate matches based on how I feel, like during and then afterwards.
Yeah.
We've had so much fun wrestling so many different teams. We've just had so much fun this time around. But definitely that one sticks out.
Now, Scott Reed came back. Now, was that recently, or
that
was
was
that before?
No, that was a couple months ago, right? Like 3 or 4 months ago.
That was a couple months
Is
ago.
he back for?
I don't know.
We don't know yet.
Right,
We don't know.
I'll have to ask him.
What makes that match special for us too was we were all in WFA together.
Exactly.
Vixen, all of us. So to us, it was like to have that moment again, all of us in the ring again.
Yeah.
Which never really happened there, but it was special for all of us.
That's cool.
We were all excited.
Chaotic when Brandon came back.
Right.
I was like blown away. I was like, hey, is that Brandon in the front row? And sure enough, it was an angle.
I mean, I remember telling all the guys in the back at one point, I was like, we got to man up a little bit because we're all giddy.
Yeah,
it was like being, 16 again. Like,
Right.
all right, we're really going to go do this.
awesome.
But there was, when we got out there, it was all bets are off. You know what I mean?
All professional.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
Anthony has another question. He says, you guys going to go after American Made and try to get your titles back? He says, the first match was awesome. I don't care who wins, just want to see a good match. And all 4 of you did that the first time.
No, thank you.
We're hoping that there's still the champs in come August. I mean, we were told that we will be going after whoever the tag champs are at the time.
Right.
So hopefully they're the tag champs so we can get that rematch and get our belts back.
Feel the same way, yeah? Mm-hmm. All right. I think he has one more, yep. What is both your dream match, a tag team one or one-on-one, that you would like to have but hasn't happened?
You first.
My dream match, who I'd like to wrestle?
Yeah. And it could be anything, anybody, it's just a dream.
A dream?
Yeah.
Wow.
So many choices.
Boy, I wish I could go in a time machine and go back in time and wrestle with the Rock and Roll Express or the Von Erichs. I mean, I'm kind of a throwback, so.
You could still watch. You could still wrestle the Rock.
That's still doing it.
Still doing it. 60 or whatever.
That would be my fantasy match for sure.
That would be great. That would be so cool.
In the area, my dream tag match, to be honest with you, I would like us to work the Logans.
Yeah.
That's a match
really
I would love to have. Just because every time I've shared a locker room with those guys, I've been a singles wrestler.
Right.
And I've always stuck, to the curtain watching their stuff, and I'm the first one when they come to the curtain, be like, that was cool. So
great tag.
I would love to do it. Us versus them, I think that'd be a cool match. Especially for this area, I think it'd be a cool match.
Nice. Rock and Roll Express and the Logans. Gotta love it. I'm from Lowell, too. So I need to get those guys on the show, too.
Right.
Chase did the show, but now I need to get all three of them on the show. That'd be awesome. All right, Maverick Wild.
Oh, boy.
Nightbreed had a considerable gap between your first run and your current one. What changes would you say have been made in wrestling in general with you as a tag team in that time? Has anything really changed?
I think we talked about this before. I think we're having more fun now as a tag team. I think before when we worked for Steve, it was so demanding that we had so much pressure on ourselves, and I would put pressure on him because he was fairly new. I mean, when we started, it was like his first year, and I was kind of helping bringing him along in the middle of matches. It was stressful for me, stressful for him, and then Steve was on us. Perfection had to be there.
Right.
So I remember telling him, I go, I never stopped to smell the roses.
Right.
Like I never, I look back on those tapes now. I'm like, oh, that's what happened. Right. That's what it was. Oh, that was cool. But now it's like we're having fun. Like we're still, we still want good matches and we still want that perfect stuff. But we're having fun, If we screw up or if we do something wrong, we'll text each other like, "Oh, maybe we should change that." But nothing. I mean, I don't see. That's the only real change I see.
Right.
We have room to be creative amongst each other now. Because we can go backstage and we can, create,
Yep.
and get in the wrestling ring and innovate a little bit.
Right.
And whereas working for Steve, like he said, it was very strict. You had to do a certain you had to accomplish a certain standard.
Yep.
You see what I mean? So yes, it was stressful.
Okay, I want to see, with Steve, we want to talk about, like, what did you, sorry. Take me through a typical training day at Steve Bradley's WFA school. No, Top Rope Academy.
All right.
Top Rope Academy?
Top Rope Wrestling Academy.
Yeah.
All right. No, I lived there
Cheers,
for a
so
while.
there you go.
Yeah. Steve was such a kind guy, right? I got to know him on a personal level. I mean, he came to my wedding. He danced with my wife. It was a very special guy.
Right.
That school was his world. That was, if you were in there, you were a part of him. To be in his ring, you were in his life, and that's what that meant. And his training. It wasn't like grueling or anything. It was always very thoughtful. So you get in the wrestling ring, and I remember when I first started with him, it was just basically one-on-one because I was the only guy. And he said, "All right," and he just got in the ring with me, and he said, "Let's lock up. Show me what you know. We'll go through some things," and he corrected me along the way.
Yep.
And it was a very, like I said, very thoughtful way of training. Let's break it down. Stop there.
Right.
Fix this, now go. He also liked to use the videotapes a lot. So he would set up the camera and have us do something and then go back and watch it. And we would critique as a group.
Right.
Guys, what'd you think of that? What'd you think of that? Or did everybody see what he did right? Or did you see what he did wrong? How could you fix that?
Right.
Okay, now get in there and fix it. So it was pretty immediate course corrections along the way. And everybody got the same standard way of doing things.
Right.
So, yeah.
Nice. Now, at the height of his school, what was like the amount of kids in there training?
At the height of the school, honestly, I'll be completely honest here. At the height of the school, it wasn't a school.
Okay.
He had stopped training and he was focusing on running his company, the WFA.
Okay.
All right. So it was kind of like a wrestling club, right? So it was like all the local boys could come and bump around,
Right.
and it was students teaching students. It was local guys passing on information.
Yep.
It wasn't a school at that point because honestly, he put so much on himself that he was just.
He did everything himself.
And he never asked for help.
Right.
He had so many people saying,
Offering.
"Let me help you with this. Let me help you with that." No. 'Cause he's a perfectionist. He wanted his way, his vision. So yeah. So towards the end there were a lot of people coming in and out of there, and it was fun.
Right.
But it wasn't a place where somebody new could really get that one-on-one anymore.
Yes. Now, was there a real competition like between them and Chaotic? I heard that there was some bad blood at points in time, from what I've heard.
I think so. I didn't notice it.
Yeah,
I didn't notice it at first when it supposedly started or happened
Yeah.
or began. I noticed it when I was watching the monitor in the back and Billy Kryptonite, their champ, came in and he squashed him.
Right?
So I kind of looked around to everybody and I don't know who was next to me and I said, I don't know, that's kind of weird, don't you think?
Yeah.
Is that how you do it with a champion for someone?
Right.
That kid's gonna get in trouble. And then I just didn't think of it again. And then after Steve was gone, I started hearing, he had beef with them for whatever reason. And
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay. That all makes sense now. The puzzle's there.
Now,
But
Chaotic was there first, right?
I believe so, yeah.
First,
They're around
they
first.
obviously knew there was a threat there. In
Right.
their eyes, I would imagine. I would imagine that's how it probably happened. I mean, I don't know exactly.
I just think when Steve opened up, I feel like even from my talks with him, privately in the school, whatever, it was almost like I always explained he was like a juggernaut. Anything that was in his way, with that promotion, he wanted to roll over it.
Right.
And even I came from Lobster Man's, and he wanted that gone.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, well, this is what we're doing. We're going to show him what wrestling is, and I mean, that was just his mentality, and I think you need a mentality like that. It's
absolutely.
me against the world type thing. That's how we all took it in the locker room. We were all me against the world, and that's how it was, and and it worked. It worked for a while.
And he was a special talent.
He was.
I mean, I still watch some of the stuff that he did in Memphis. Seriously, it was incredible stuff.
He's the first guy to explain to me what strobe lights were with his fingers. So
Right.
I remember when we were first debuting in Littleton, and he goes, come on, guys, get in the ring. And he's like, this is going to be going on. And I'm like, what's that? We have to do that?
Right.
I go, that's really dumb. And he's like, oh, no, these are the strobe lights. I go, why don't you just tell me that? Like, why am I sitting? He's like, well, I go, don't you see the way I'm looking at you? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. He's like, oh, these are strobe. I thought we had to do spirit fingers out there. Like, I'm not doing that. I am looking at him going, I'm not doing that. Whatever that is, I'm not doing it. Like, I quit. Like, if I have to do that, you know? And then I'm like, Steve, what is this? He's like, oh, those are your strobe lights. I'm just letting you know that they're going to be there. I go, oh, okay.
Now, what was the best piece of advice he gave you about when you would leave? You know what I mean? When you would go out and wrestle, like other places?
Oh, it was.
We weren't allowed to wrestle other places.
Well, speaking of, as one of his students and one of his, his guys on the show, he was very consistent in his messaging of being professional. Wherever we went, it was you get there early, you help set up, and then you stick around. Maybe get something to eat, but stick around. He would tell me, listen, bud, if you're going to go out on the town, you're going to put your contacts in. You're going to be in character. And then if there were protesters for whatever reason,
we had those too.
Keep your head down. I don't want anybody getting involved in anything. It was professional, and backstage, everything. So he always pushed that.
Right.
So being on the road with that company, it was,
he would
best behavior type thing.
With me, the best advice he gave, because I would complain, he would let everybody else work other places here and there, but he wouldn't let us. And then I said to him, Steve, why not? I want to go work somewhere else with Buddy. I think, I want to work with other people. We're working the Metro Men for a year straight, or the Noise Boys for 2 years straight. I go, I want to work other people, right? Yeah. And Steve's like, what good if I send my vampires out there? You're no longer unique. So I'm not going to send you out there. And then he said, here's the best advice I'm going to give you. Because I used to say, well, that guy is doing it. That guy.
Right.
What applies to him doesn't always apply to you. Right. He goes, you think the Undertaker doesn't want to go sit in a restaurant and eat? But Vince doesn't want him sitting in a restaurant and eating.
Right.
You guys go have somebody bring you the pizza that you want. And then I started understanding, you're right. Rules that are mine are not probably his, and not probably his. And that was the best advice he gave me. Like, don't worry about everybody else's rules. Yeah. Worry about how we handle you. And just deal with me about you and Buddy or whatever it was,
But he was running a lot, too, at times. I mean, there was 3 or 4 shows on the weekend, right?
A week. Easily,
yeah. Those are big weekends doing that.
And he was doing all over New England. Yeah. You said Vermont.
We go to Vermont, we go to Ludlow, Mass.
Right.
We'd be everywhere. Littleton, everything.
He'd give you a calendar. He'd have it all filled up.
No, he was, like I said, it's an incredible talent. I mean, won the Super 8.
Yep.
I mean, he just did a lot of great things. But I want to now focus back with you guys.
Sure.
How about we play the name game a little bit here? First name I want to bring up is a guy that passed away. He was a really good friend of the show, Big Woody.
Big Woody. I think I told the story recently. Me and him didn't start off on a good foot. This is what the power of messaging and leaving things open to translation. And we got in a little bit of an argument. And then finally, when cooler heads prevailed, I contacted him. Yeah. And I said, I barely know you. You barely know me. I go, this is so stupid that we're fighting.
Right.
And he was like, you were man enough to send me a message and be like, dude, this ain't, he goes, that's opposite of what I've heard of you. And I said, well, see, that's the problem. There's the legend and the myth, and then there's the real person in wrestling. And I go, I get judged a lot on the legend and the myth. Trust me. I fight that a lot.
Right.
And he's like, well, guess what? I'm gonna get to know this guy. And we for like a month, we would every day write back to each other. And he's like, you ask me a question, I'll ask you a question. And that's what we were doing. Wow. And we got to know each other. And after that, it was like all hugs every time I saw him, and he was awesome. When I found out that he had passed away, it was sad. It was a sad day. Because he was a good guy. I got used to seeing him at Liberty States, hanging out, and Vixen was always.
I'm glad to hear that work.
Yeah, it worked out for the better.
Did you have any I know you were gone for a while.
Right. No, I regret that I never got the chance to connect with him.
Right. He was a really nice guy.
That's what I hear. And
yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to put in tag team, so you guys were a tag team for the name game, and this team was already brought up by Anthony Mark Balkas, American made.
Well, I mean. 2 good guys.
Yep.
We had a match already with them, a fun match. I like both of them.
Right.
They're cool guys. I mean, that's what I can say about them.
Yeah, I had fun wrestling with them. Very kind guys.
Yeah.
I really look forward to getting the opportunity to wrestle with them again for sure.
Nice. And now there's only 2 because it started as 3 guys.
Yes.
And Hunter Wood unfortunately had that accident.
Injury,
and now he's the commissioner, right?
He's the commissioner, yes, he is.
So you guys have faces over there, right?
Right.
Aren't those guys faces too?
Yep. But I
So
think
that'll make an
that
interesting match.
I think the fan reaction just kind of brought us all.
Yeah.
You know, let's see who the bigger team is. You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how about a real ruthless team in APW right now? Venom.
Venom. We haven't crossed paths with them yet.
Oh, really?
Not yet. I mean, I'm sure we will eventually down the road, but
now
we haven't yet.
there's Stiff Mike.
They have a different name. I don't know what their name is. I don't think it is Venom.
Oh, so, okay.
I think Venom is Joe Moakley's crew.
Really?
I think, yeah. But we haven't
Okay.
crossed Stiff Mike and Bugsy yet.
Bugsy in also, don't they have Kevin Giles?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, he's a big
Yeah,
kid, too.
There's a lot of beef there.
Yeah, yeah. All right. How about the Bitter Club? Scott Levesque and Buddy Romano.
Buddy Romano, I think is a good talent.
Yeah.
I worked Scott Levesque years ago.
Yeah.
Fun match. I've seen what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing pretty well. But as far as us crossing paths, I don't think we have yet. I don't know. Maybe we will.
Lucky Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
You know?
Haven't been there in a while.
Book these guys. All right. I want you brought these guys up as a dream tag team. The Logan brothers, Matt and Brian. You could even throw Nick. He could come back and wrestle again if he wants.
Like I said, I've watched them from afar. All like since I've known them, like since I've seen them, and I'm a big fan. You know,
Right.
Like I said, I would like to work them.
Yeah, they are an incredible team. Feel the same?
Absolutely.
All right. How about are you guys paying attention at all to Killanova?
Hell yeah.
Right
Yes.
now, Royce Bishop
Yep.
and Triplicious is the tag team because the tag team champs because Christian's the heavyweight champ.
Right.
Yeah.
But would you like to take on those guys?
Well, it's funny you say that because for that Impulse show, I actually lobbied for that match. Yes, I did, but I don't know what happened. It didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, I would love to work those two guys. You know,
I think that would be an incredible match with you guys.
I was
really do.
I was around when Royce Bishop took his first step in the ring. So
And then he had left you for a while,
Yep.
kind of like you, and came back.
he came back a lot slimmer though. You know, like,
Yeah,
he came-
that's what I heard.
he
Because
came
I
back
didn't
like
really
that.
know him back then. I wasn't going to a lot of shows back then.
But since I've known him, he's always loved wrestling, and he was,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he used to be a rapper, and he
Right,
got into
right.
wrestling, so he had the charisma, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then when he left, I was like, oh, he's done.
Yeah.
And, that's
And he
like-
does their entrance
Yep.
music.
Yep, he does.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then when he came back, I was like, oh, you know, I saw him. I'm
Right.
like, all right, this is, you know, he fits right with that crew.
Yeah.
You know, it's perfect. You know.
Yeah, because Triplicious, the veteran,
Yep.
has to be helping those two guys
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Because Christian is the youngster of the group.
Yep,
Even
yep.
though one time I said, well, Royce is the... Then I found out, no,
it's the other
Royce
one.
is older than Christian.
Yep.
But they're like best friends.
Yes,
So a lot of great things happen. I don't know if you had heard, might as well bring it up real quick. But Christian's going to be wrestling at the Ring of Honor
I
show.
saw that.
So
I
I
saw
thought
that,
that
too.
was great. Congratulations,
That's
Christian.
awesome. That's awesome, bro.
He's my grandson's favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
Even though he don't really like wrestling anymore, he loves Christian.
Yeah.
All right, you brought these guys up too earlier. The Metro Men. Was that Mikey Bennett?
It was
And
Mikey Bennett and Rob. I don't know what his last name
Okay.
was. And then Mike Bennett came out, and I think it was Scott Guerin came in.
okay.
I think it's how they did it.
They had like 4 guys.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah,
bunch of
there was a
guys.
guy Shane something. I think was part of it too. I
Yeah.
don't remember his last name.
Mike was one of the more consistent ones
Right.
in the team.
He was one of the first ones.
Right. And they're finally using him on TV.
Yes,
And
yes.
I know you guys, you think he's getting buried. There's got to be something at the end.
Right,
but
right.
Why would he do it?
Yeah, why would
You know,
they even-
so, and he's on TV. That's what everybody should be happy about.
Yep.
None of this crying about they're burying him. He's on TV. That's what you wanted. And there he is.
It's the way I look at it. If you're on TV, you're not getting buried. You're on TV.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I think it's great,
Your
but
face
so
is up
many
there.
people don't want to, put it down. It's like he's on TV.
Right,
this
right.
is what you wanted.
Right, right.
And he's
Here he
fine,
is.
thank God for Heyman.
Right,
putting
right.
it back on TV. How about you brought up Brandon Locke earlier, but I know you guys took him on before also when he had Alex Arion as his partner.
Yes, it's funny. It's funny you say that.
I think we lost the title.
We lost the WFA tag titles to them.
Right.
And when they were facing us at APW, he says to me, "You know, every time we went in the ring with Brandon Locke, we lose the titles." You know that, right? And I said, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "How many times have we been in with him?" He goes, "Once."
You know,
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Brandon's my brother. I love him to death, and,
Right.
and yeah, so it's all good. I hope we get to work together again soon.
Right. Now, did you guys see when he decided he walked away and he did the bodybuilding?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Dude, I think he came in like second place his first
Yeah.
competition.
He
He
is
looked
a-
like $1 million.
He's a hardworking man. He
Right,
really
yeah.
is.
Absolutely.
He
And then
really
when he
is.
came back to wrestling, he went back to the wrestling side.
Yep.
It was just amazing,
Wow.
man. He's killing it. How about you guys following Beer Country at all?
I've seen bits and pieces of him. from chaotic videos
Right.
and stuff. I saw one of them when they came to APW.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're pretty good. They're pretty good guys.
Big boys,
Big
too.
dudes.
Yeah.
You know? What do you think about those guys?
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I think they're an awesome tag team. Again, I'd love to work with them. I think we could tell a great story.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely on their rise up there.
Yes.
I don't think these guys are teaming anymore, but picture perfect. Vern Vicalo and Dan Terry.
I thought at one point it was in the books for us to work them, but guess not. I like Vern.
Yeah.
I think Vern's doing well for himself, and Dan Terry's
Yeah.
also doing well for himself. So
Right.
I love to work. I worked them both singles.
Yeah.
But I haven't worked
Oh, you
them
have
tag.
worked them
Yes.
both, yeah.
I have worked them both singly.
Nice. Have you ever been in the ring with those guys?
Nope, met them and super nice guys. Very talented.
Yeah.
And again, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think you guys would have a great
I think
match
so.
with them. And Vern, I think he's going to be wrestling finally a singles match for the Juggalos.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
Yeah.
pretty-
I saw the new gear online.
I might have to go to the gathering sometime. I never thought I'd ever say that. But if Vern's going to be a regular on the gathering, I think I
You
might have to
show
take
up.
that trip to Ohio. The Noise Boys, Matt
Oh, geez.
Matt Spectro and Mark Vincent.
Oh boy.
That's who I remember you guys wrestling.
Lots of memories of those guys.
Flashbacks right now.
We were married to those guys for like a year and a half.
Right.
We got
You
sick
guys
of
had great matches with them, though.
we were so sick of each other. Like
Oh, I'm
we
sure.
would bicker with each other like a married couple because we just hate it was every day we saw the same guys. Every day we had to fight the same guys. You know.
If we had another hour on this show, we could devote it to stories of
Yeah,
Nightbreed
God.
versus the Noise Boys.
God.
But I'll tell you, those guys, Matt and Mark, are just fantastic guys.
yeah.
And I would love to do something with them if they came back.
Yeah.
I would
That
love
would
it.
be. I'd love to see that.
I would
too.
love to get slammed by Tarzan one last time.
Yeah.
Drop the head of it.
Smash with the guitar one more
See
time.
him
Like,
throw a
he just
tantrum.
started a podcast now too
Yes,
with
I
Julian
saw that. I
Scott.
saw that,
So
yeah.
that's kind of cool. Julian had to cancel on me too because he's out in Texas.
Oh, I saw that. I saw you flew out there.
But yeah, so hopefully I'll get him back on someday. Guys, ever take on the Egomaniacs? Mike Steele and
That
Johnny Idol?
was, to be honest, when we first were put as a tag team.
Yeah.
I was a singles wrestler for so long.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know how to make this work. I mean, we didn't have matching gear because there wasn't one, and I'm like, I don't know how to make this work. And it was the first Littleton show. I remember Steve had was taping 4 weeks, so he had some video that we had frozen our butts off the film.
Right.
And he aired every week. He would air a little bit of the video. By the end, when we came out, I was like, Steve, is this gonna work? By the last video, the crowd was like in a frenzy when we came out.
Right.
And they put us with the Egomaniacs.
Nice.
And I remember sitting next to Johnny Idol that day going, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
I go, how do I make this work? He goes, just follow me and Mike,
Yeah.
and we'll teach you how to make a tag match work.
Right.
And as we were in that ring, we were being taught, here's what you do
Nice.
here. Here's how you do this here. And we just, it was tons of help. Like when Mike Steele decided, we had a program that was going to happen,
Right.
but Mike Steele pulled away from wrestling,
Wow.
and I was sad about that because
I was too, to be honest with you, because I really liked them.
I wanted to see where that was going to go. You know?
Because I really would have loved to have seen them stay together.
Right.
And I never really got to know Mike Steele, but I've been getting to know Johnny a little bit. Great guy.
Yep.
Really is. How about, I know you guys took on Steve Bradley and the graduate, Tim
Tim
McNeely. Any memories of wrestling those
Yeah.
guys?
Oh, yeah. I remember Steve's blood all over me. He was just bleeding all over the place, coming in and, grabbing him by his braids and hitting him blood, picking it out of my fingernails for days. And wrestling with Tim McNeely was fun. Again, he's a very story-driven type of
Very talented,
wrestler.
too.
Yep, absolutely. Another one of those guys that could just guide you. 'Cause I was very new.
Right, right.
You listen, and you let them guide you, and it's just so much fun. Yeah, that was fun.
That day was a tournament that they were having, and I remember Steve looking at us. You know all those moves you guys do? And I'm like, yeah, no, you're not doing them. And I go, what? You don't want to take them? And he was like, no, I'm going to teach you guys how to get over without killing yourselves. That's what I'm going to teach you. So we went out there, we did the match, and we didn't know what was going on. Steve is calling. It's one of my favorite match to show students.
Yeah.
And not because I'm in it, but because I tell him, I go, look at how good he was. He would stand in front of the crowd.
Right.
There's a part of the match right at the beginning where he's standing in front of the barricade.
Yeah.
And he yells out my real name, and he goes, get a clap going. And he does that, and nobody picks up on it.
Right.
Except me that's in the ring.
Right.
And I'm going, guys, look at that. That alone, And as he's calling, and we didn't do anything. I mean, I think the finish to that match was a simple small package.
Really?
And the crowd came unglued, and when we got to the back, he was like, you see, you don't have to use every move in the book.
Right.
Let everybody else do that. You
Yeah.
show people you can work.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you booked, that you can work. you know. So this is my favorite match for that.
And Steve and Tim in that particular match, they really worked to put over our characters as vampires. So
Right.
what we did in the ring, they acted like they were scared of us,
Right.
or reluctant to get in the ring. And so there was again storytelling.
Right.
So critical.
Yeah. So you guys are obviously got to wrestle earlier in your careers as a team against
Right.
some pretty solid veterans. Like I said, the
Right.
Egomaniacs, those guys.
Right.
What about what do you guys wrestled Danny Jax one time? Do you remember that?
I did. Did you?
I did.
Was it just you? I thought it was both of you.
I wrestled him singles.
Okay, and
I
how
think we
did
did
that
them singles.
That was fun. It was a long time ago, Leo.
Was that for Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I remember it being early in the night, and the thing I remember about that was Steve didn't really give us any direction as far as what he wanted. So we kind of had, free reign to kind of do something different. So I got the idea to do the vampire bite. And I just heard you laugh a little. Anyway, so we did that. We worked the match, and the finish was I get on top, start biting him, right? Until he dies. Right, he's dead, and then the arm drops, and you could hear a pin drop, right? And the people were just, oh my God,
Right.
They hadn't seen that before, right? And then they came up at the end, So I got backstage and I felt good about it. And Steve came over to me with dip in his lip, and he was like, "Buddy, what the hell was that?" I'm like, "Well, they were entertained." He goes, "They're confused." But hey, I don't know. Maybe they were entertained. Maybe they were confused. A little bit of both. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it was really fun working with Danny Jackson.
My experience with Steve and Danny Jax was Jax was oiling himself up,
Yeah.
and Steve wants him to beat me with that thing where Keisha used to do. It was suplex into a pile driver.
Yeah.
So I looked at Steve. I go, "I've never refused you in anything,
Right.
But I'm refusing you with that."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What? You scared to do the move?" I go, "No, I'm scared that I'm gonna keep on going because look, he was he poured a bottle of baby oil on him." I go, "That's not gonna come off during the match."
Right.
I mean, and it didn't. It was all over the ropes. I remember, I'm like, "I'm not
Right.
doing anything."
Yeah.
I think all we did that match was like Jackson's like, "What do you want to do? Just keep on chopping me, keep on chopping me, and then I'm gonna do this, and then just pin me."
You're probably the first person to ever say, like, chop me.
Yeah.
I know
Well, I
usually
just-
people don't like to chop.
I was like, I don't want to be put upside down at all.
right.
All that oil that you have on you.
I'd like to bring up a few tag teams that are in the WWE right now and get your thoughts on them.
Okay.
How about the New Day?
I like.
And I'm going to go because Kofi's the champ, so we'll go Big E and Xavier.
I like the longevity as a team because I feel like every time there's a tag team, it's like they were tag team for a month and they get broken up.
right.
No matter if they were like together in NXT or whatever.
Yeah.
So I like the longevity, how long they've lasted.
Right. Same.
I also like the babyface thing.
Yeah.
Boy, they sure can connect with those kids, man. And they do.
It's ridiculous
and
how
that is-
much they connect.
Yep,
and
yep.
they went from like hated heels
Right.
Yeah.
to the crowd favorites
Yeah.
like nothing.
I think they posted a picture recently of them in their tuxedos when they first started together.
Yeah.
And this is like night and day compared to what they got going on now.
It's amazing, and a lot of people thought that if they ever pushed the singles, everybody was saying Big E because of his size
Right,
and all
right.
that. I was so excited when they decided to push
With
Kofi.
Kofi, yeah.
Did you guys ever have any interactions with Kofi Kingston at all?
No.
No. Okay. You just brought up how they keep tag teams together for a short time, and I don't understand what. I think one of them got hurt, but the Bludgeon Brothers, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan.
I loved it when they came out of the Bludgeon Brothers, actually.
That was
I loved the
incredible.
whole
The
thing.
look and everything was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Then you get the dreaded injuries, and that's it. You know?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's it.
And I'll tell you, Eric Rowan's lucky because they're putting him with a guy that can teach him
Right.
so much right now.
Right.
Daniel Bryan. I mean, the knowledge he's probably giving them right now
Right, right.
is incredible. And I guess Hopper's coming back soon.
Hopefully,
Supposedly.
yeah, I like him too. So
Yeah, me
hopefully.
too. How about a tag team that's been around for a while and will probably stay together forever? The Uso brothers.
There's
I'd
a lot-
love to see you guys wrestle
There's
them. I really
just a humongous amount of talent there.
So much.
And it's always entertaining
Yeah.
to watch. You just never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I could watch one of their matches and just rewatch it and just learn. Those are for me. Those are definitely one of the teams that I would watch and study.
Right.
I like the early Usos when they were doing the Samoan thing.
Yeah,
I love that, but then I feel like I didn't see them for a month, and when I went back to watching, I think it was SmackDown or something, they come out as like pretty much themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, now they're gonna do good. Like now they're being like to be themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the best thing you can do in any kind of entertainment thing. Let somebody be themselves.
Right.
And
And
see
it's
what
funny.
happens.
I don't think people realize for how long they've really been with the company. They were like kids when they when they were signed. I think they were 19 years old.
Right.
It's crazy. I love the Usos too.
Me too.
How about a team they're not using too much, but they did in NXT? Sanity.
Yeah, I mean,
What's that? Eric Young.
I forgot what the other two guys.
Yeah,
were. They had Nikki Cross in it.
Yeah, I liked it better when the Nikki Cross was a part of it too.
Right.
But what do you think of those
I mean,
guys?
I think it could have been something that was cool. When something happened, when they got called out, that they disappeared.
Yeah,
You know,
I just
mean,
think that's so strange. You know?
Yeah, I think I was, at the time too. I'm a big fan of the NXT product. I love it.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think
Actually, I'm going to bring that up next.
Yeah. So I think that that particular tag team kind of is not a whole heck of a lot of difference between that and the Bludgeon Brothers type dark, rough
Right.
gimmick. You know, and
Yeah.
there's only so much room for that.
Right.
Right. Yeah, and it's a shame though. Like I said, if Luke Harper didn't get hurt, man,
Right.
the Bludgeon Brothers, who knows what would be going on with them right now,
Right,
honestly,
right.
because they were really gaining momentum. You brought it up, NXT. Now, do you watch NXT
Yes.
also? Okay,
Yes.
says I'm a huge fan of
Right.
NXT too. I just want to bring up, what do you guys think about how many local guys are actually there? You know,
something to be proud of.
Hijack,
Yeah.
It's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
You know, as a New Englander.
right?
Yeah.
And Biff.
Yep,
You guys
Biff,
have any interactions with any of those guys that are down there?
Dijak, I was part of his training.
Right.
Tommaso, I still talk to here and there, you know. So, but it's good to see them. It's like I feel like one day you were seeing them next to you, and the next time you like turn on TV and watching them. You know, but it's cool. It's cool that they're there. You know, it's something to look forward to watching.
And it is crazy because the first time I ever saw Tommaso was when he was doing that Tommy Penman shit or whatever. And I no lie, I was with my girlfriend and I'm like, this is weird when he
Right.
first came out. But then I said to her, if this kid stays healthy, man,
Right.
the sky's the limit. You could tell right from the start that he was.
Yep.
Eddie Edwards was the same way. The first time I saw Eddie Edwards, he was just a kid.
Right.
And I was like, if that kid sticks with it, he's going to be something,
Yep.
you know? You guys, you must have wrestled with Eddie, no?
I wrestled a match with him. I was never not against him, but like on his
You're on
the team.
Okay. Now, what about you?
Yeah, he was in the WFA with us.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good times together.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now, DC, was he up there too?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was one of the Noise Boys for like a day. I remember making fun of him because he dressed all grunge, and I'm like, they are in 80s.
Right.
Like, well, why are you wearing grungy clothes? And then we got in trouble with that match too for doing stuff we were told not to do, like go outside and dent cars.
Any thoughts on the late great Dave?
Dave was awesome.
Dave?
Really nice.
I hung out with him outside of wrestling.
Yeah.
And, you know, a good story I can tell about him is he invited us over to his house. I think it was for a Halloween party.
Okay.
And he told me to invite my brother.
Yeah.
And Dave, if anybody knew Dave, loved the Celtics.
Yeah.
And loved Macho Man.
Yes.
But my brother likes the bus balls.
Oh.
So while we're sitting in his house, my brother saw a screensaver was Macho Man. So my brother got a liking to it. He got a liking to my brother. So my brother walks up there and goes, you know, Macho Man wasn't really good. He was always Hogan's bitch. You know that, right? So Dave goes, Amato, come here. What? I'm going to kick your brother out of here. Like, tell him to take those back. You know, and my brother's like, well, let me tell you about the Celtics. And I'm like, and that went on for like an hour.
Right.
But Dave just kept threatening to kick him out. But, you know, obviously he did it. But it was just funny to see how worked up he got over Macho Man and Celtics
Yeah.
going to be fun of, you know.
I didn't know he had Halloween parties. I do know he threw very famous Christmas parties. He loved Christmas.
So this was definitely a Halloween party that
Yeah.
we went to. But, and then I remember Eddie Edwards sitting in the corner going, shaking his head.
Yeah.
Like,
I bet you Eddie shook his head a lot when he was with Dave.
Yes. Yeah.
Was Sean Gorman part of them at all?
Not in WFA, no.
No?
No.
Okay. You guys familiar with Sean at all?
Yeah, I talked to him maybe twice.
Okay. All right. So back to NXT again. Right now, right? The Gargano's the champ, right?
Yep.
And now Tommaso supposedly should be coming back soon. Do you think they're gonna go head to head again, or what?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think so. I mean, they have great matches together.
Unbelievable
Yeah.
matches.
Yeah.
You know, I was surprised how they got back together again. It was very strange.
Right.
You know, they just fought one week, and next thing you know, he's up there at the top of the ring
Right.
clapping for him. I don't know, just something about those two guys.
Right, together.
They've got something really special.
I think it helps when you're like close friends outside of
Yeah.
wrestling. You know,
Right.
if you have that chemistry with that person.
Right.
You know.
Well, what about I like to call him Handsome Johnny,
Yep.
like everybody else around here does. But I mean,
I feel
Wicked
like
Hanson, Ivar.
I mean, I know that didn't happen overnight, but
right.
it feels like it did.
Yeah, no, I hear
feel
you.
like almost last week I was seeing him in Japan,
Right.
and all of a sudden he's like on my
Isn't it
TV on Monday Night Raw. You know, that's cool. Good for him. You know, he's earned it. He deserved it. He's paid all his dues and busted his ass.
And the injuries, I haven't brought it up in a while, so I don't mind saying again. A lot of guys would have quit.
Yep.
All the injuries he had,
Very true.
lesser man, I should say, would have
Would've
quit.
quit, yep.
I mean, to see him stick it out, it's pretty incredible. What about like you guys into like the tag teams from like the late '70s, early '80s at all? I was going to bring up Killer Kowalski's team, the Executioners. Do you
Yeah,
remember
I
it all?
didn't watch any of that stuff. No.
Okay.
I mean, I like late '80s WWE.
Right.
You know.
Well, what about the Mega Powers? Macho Man and Hogan.
I'm sure you were excited like I was when they got together. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's like, it's short-lived, you know?
Right.
It was short-lived, so I was kind of down when they broke up as a kid.
Well, I also got a couple of independent teams that I'd like to ask you guys about because I really like these teams. But the Backseat Boys, Johnny Cashmere and Trent Acid.
I've never seen them.
Never seen them? No? Okay. How about the Kings of Wrestling? Claudio Castagnoli and Chris Hero?
I haven't seen them either.
No? Okay. That's fine. How about Tough Guy Inc.? Isn't that Bob
Is that Bob
Evans
Evans?
and what's his partner's name?
I don't-
Tim Hughes?
I know the original Tough Guy.
Okay, who's that?
Who was it? Matty K was it? And Frankie Arion?
Oh, that's what said. Yeah, Matt
Yeah.
McKay, and it was Frankie Arias.
They were like so tiny. They used to come out on a moped. Was it a moped? A little moped, a little scooter.
thing.
Really?
And they would like ride together and just bump into everything, you know. And I remember like we were working on it, and I remember telling them, "How do we make this believable?" They're like,
Right.
they're tiny.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what do we do? But I mean, they were fun. They were just funny. It was a funny character. They're back to like '50s, like tough guys.
Yeah.
You know.
50s greasers. Yeah. They would
50s
come out and-
greasers. I don't think they had hair
We
either.
used to say we're gonna punk some busters.
You guys have any funny memories of like anybody you were in the ring with? Like things that you look
man.
back and laugh or can't believe this happened?
Not really.
I got some
dude.
good ones
Go
of
ahead,
him.
go for it. Oh, God,
Yeah,
what did I do?
let's hear it.
Oh God.
Well, have you ever heard the story of Amato and the egg on his head? Have you
Oh,
heard that?
God.
No.
Let's tell that story.
God.
While we have 6 minutes left.
Oh God.
Anyway, no. So we were wrestling WFA, and we have two shows. And the first night, he takes a brutal chair shot to the head, and it was just you could hear it from a mile away.
Right. Who hit him?
I don't know.
It was Ray from the Metro.
Okay, so-
Okay.
I remember that.
Oh, now you remember his name.
I remember his name.
Got it. So he takes the chair out, and we go backstage, and he's got this egg, like something you'd see on Looney Tunes.
Right.
No joke. There is an egg. It's like a golf ball coming out of his head.
Wow.
I was horrified. Horrified. And I said to him, listen, we got to do the same thing tomorrow. Next town, take the chair in the back. He's like, nah, man, I'll be all right. I'm okay. So we get in. It was a cage match, and we get in there, and sure enough, we're working, and then I know he's going to get the chair, and I'm just hoping he takes it in the back, but he doesn't. And like a
man.
lightning bolt to his head. Down he goes. I would go over to him, and it was like somebody kicked a bucket of paint under his under his head. It was the blood was coming out. Well, the egg, like a Fig Newton fillet, is what it looked like. Oh my God! So I go back to the hotel to check on him afterwards, and he's sitting there, and Jenny's taking care of him, And I said, how you doing? And he's like, oh, Jen says it's not that bad. So I go behind him, I look at his head, I can see your brain, man. It's not that bad. Does he go to the doctors? No.
No, not at all.
Instead he puts his ball cap on his head and calls it a night.
Wow.
That was a good
You're
stuff.
crazy.
I'll never forget it.
was
Being
good
in that match, and Mike Bennett was behind me.
Yeah.
And he was on the ground, and I said, my sinus is cleared for some reason. But the back of my head felt like it weighed 2 pounds. I'm going, wow, so late in the match, my hair's still this wet. So I go to Mike Bennett, tell me I'm not bleeding. And Mike Bennett goes, oh, you're not bleeding. So I reach back and I touch it, and I go like this, and the blood's dripping down.
Yeah.
And I go to Mike, you told me I wasn't bleeding. He goes, no, you told me to tell you I'm not bleeding. And I was like, oh. And then he comes and he goes, let me drag you out of the ring. And I said, no, I got to finish the match.
Yep.
And I remember I had to climb over the thing called for me to climb over the cage.
Right.
And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. If I pass out, I'm gonna land on that kid down in front row. So I just kind of just rolled out. And that was the same night that Scott Reed decided to play a prank on me.
Well, what
And
was that?
He filled my bag up with sand. And so all the clothes that I could have worn to the hotel room,
Yeah.
and I couldn't put it on because I didn't want to get anything to cut.
Right.
I am getting so mad at him for that.
That was a good rib.
Yeah, just the wrong day.
Yeah, wrong day.
Just the wrong day.
Now you were in the ring a lot with Scott.
Yeah.
Right? Any other funny things with Scott?
Scott one day made me look bad. It was a battle royal, and he used to do a flip over the top rope into the ring. And I said, when you do that, I'm going to clothesline you.
Right.
But when he saw the clothesline coming, he ducked out on it, so I go flat on my face. I ever wanted to kill him so bad. He spent that whole battle royal running around the ring away from me.
See, I didn't know that Scott was quite the ribber.
Yeah, I mean, he was only what, 16?
Yeah. Well, if you ever have him on the show, ask him.
I had him once, but I will have him when I get there.
Ask him about the time Buddy got him with a fire extinguisher, and I'll let him tell that story.
Really? All right. You guys take on a team called Rave.
Why does it sound familiar?
That's because I saw it on like the match.
Right.
I don't even know
I
who
don't
they
think
were.
we have.
Doesn't ring a bell.
What about the Breakfast Club? Because I think you guys wrestled, but it was a long time.
Maybe a long, yeah, but I
right.
don't remember.
Well, I know you guys took on Antonio Thomas at one point. I think he teamed with Steve.
It was in a War Games.
Right, and that
Oh,
was
yeah.
Alex Arion and you guys versus Antonio Thomas, the Noise Boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And any good memories of those War Games
those
matches?
were fun.
They were fun.
Yeah.
That cage was brutal. That cage, Steve built it himself, and
Right.
it was brutal. I have a scar on my wrist from that cage.
Really?
Yeah. It was so much fun though, being inside of
Yeah,
it. It was
and he had a few War Games because you guys were in another one where, if I'm not mistaken, you teamed with Tommaso, Antonio
Yeah.
Thomas and Alex Arion against Bradley, Johnny Idol, and Bob Evans.
Yeah, and D, I believe they had. It was a 4-on-4.
Oh, Kevin Landry.
Yeah.
D.
I remember that match specifically because
Yeah.
I hate the thing where they put you on your back and spin you around and let you go.
Yeah.
So I remember
The airplane spin?
Yeah, and I remember I was choking Steve in the corner, and he goes, "All right, get up and feed for the next guy." I go, "Tell me it isn't D because I'm not feeding. I'm not taking that
Yeah.
move, right?" And he goes, "No, it's not D." And I turn around and D's like right there.
And he was a big dude,
Yeah.
especially then.
But I mean, he was, he took care of me. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't complain.
Right. So Sonny, I'm doing another show with
Yeah.
Sonny and stuff. Any memories of Sonny that you guys could tell?
When he was working for WFA.
Yeah, or with Jeff, whatever.
To be honest, Sonny, when I think was at his heaviest, taught me how to throw a drop kick.
Really?
Which was pretty cool, I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't all this big guy. But I remember when he was doing the gimmick at WFA as K-Bosh.
Yes.
And he was like, he was mowing over the girls. Like,
Well, that's what Steve said he wanted him to
Yeah.
smash all the girls. He told me about
and it just looked so impressive. And I was like, oh, this is really cool, I get lucky enough that I see Sonny every other Wednesday at the school.
Yeah.
It brings back memories to see him train the younger
Right.
guys,
Well, guys, we got a minute left. You guys want to plug anything? Your social media, your next match?
Well, definitely come check us out at APW, August 17th, I believe.
Yep.
Yep.
I just want to say thank you to you.
No problem.
and to
I'll
the
have you
rest
guys
of
on
the,
again too.
definitely.
Believe me, this is I'm going to be doing this for a long time. I absolutely love doing this. I love showcasing the New England talent, and having you guys back in wrestling is awesome. The fans are going crazy, like you said. I actually haven't been at a match with you guys back together.
Gotta get there.
I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it, because I have to get there.
Right.
APW is a great company, so I'd love to see you guys wrestle there again.
Nice to have you there.
And let's
All right.
say thank you to all of our fans who have supported us throughout
Yes.
all these years. So we love all of you guys. Thank you so much.
And you guys they haven't forgot about you.
No.
That's the
And
thing
that
that's
means-
really
that means-
cool.
that means a lot, yeah.
Because like you said, that story about coming back and that when you just went as a fan that day
Right.
and to have the people cheering,
Yeah.
that was pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
It was.
Guys, thanks so
All right,
much for
thank you
coming
for having
out.
us, man.
Thank you, dude.
All right. Guys, we're out. Peace.